LinkedIn is constantly flooded with bright, eager corporate advice and motivational frameworks. But these highly produced, aggressively positive posts usually vanish from our collective memory in a week. Meanwhile, brutal, darkly cynical jokes about the workplace survive in offices for decades. Take the old fable of the ambitious turkey. The turkey is chatting with a bull, staring up at a tall tree, wishing he had the energy to climb it. The bull offers a highly practical solution. Try nibbling on some of his droppings, which are packed with nutrients. The turkey takes a bite, finds a sudden surge of energy, and manages to reach the very first branch. After 2 weeks of this steady diet, the turkey proudly perches at the absolute top of the tree. But the moment he settles in, a local farmer spots the bird and shoots him right out of the branches. The management lesson here is dry and unforgiving. Bullshit might get you to the top, but it won't keep you there. You have likely heard some version of that joke over the course of your career. It persists because it avoids chasing trends and instead zeroes in on an uncomfortable truth about human behavior and organizational climbing. These crude animal stories are highly engineered blueprints. They decode the systemic dysfunction of the modern workplace, using the ruthless, unsentimental logic of the wild kingdom. Processing uncomfortable truths requires narrative distance. Since the days of ancient Greece, humans have used animal avatars to safely critique power structures without triggering immediate retaliation from the people in charge. In the modern office, that exact dynamic plays out in the fable of the body's organs. When the body was first formed, the brain, hands, and feet all argued over who should be the boss. The brain claimed to control responses. The hands did the physical labor, and the feet handled logistics. Then the asshole spoke up, demanding the leadership role. The other parts laughed at the idea, so the asshole simply went on strike and blocked itself up. Within days, the eyes crossed, the brain ran a fever, and the entire system collapsed, forcing the organs to elect the asshole as their boss. In the end, shutdown power easily defeated pure intelligence. Laughing at that grim reality requires a specific cognitive trait. Researchers at the Medical University of Vienna conducted a study to measure how people process this exact kind of gallows humor, jokes that deal heavily in morbidity, pain, and systemic failure. This chart plots the appreciation of Black humor against various cognitive and behavioral traits. The subjects who showed the highest preference for dark jokes also scored highest in both verbal and nonverbal intelligence, while simultaneously displaying the lowest levels of aggression. This aligns directly with early psychoanalytic theories on human behavior. Humor acts as a safe, temporary release valve for repressed frustrations. It allows individuals to process intense workplace stress and systemic bottlenecks without resorting to physical conflict or angry outbursts. A dark joke about an incompetent boss is a scientifically verified coping mechanism. It allows sharp minds to quietly endure systemic incompetence while protecting their own mental state. Delivering these fables requires a very specific audio architecture. The narrator must sound entirely unblurred, delivering the lines with the calm academic authority of a prestige nature documentary. By stripping away the energetic, screaming performance typical of modern internet comedy, the audio creates a massive contrast. The dry, factual tone amplifies the uncomfortable absurdity of the punchline. The visual style follows the exact same rule of restraint. Highly polished, beautifully rendered animation actually damages the impact of a cynical joke by making it feel far too produced and insincere. The most effective visuals rely heavily on limited animation. You take a stiff character rig, like a highly motivated rabbit vibrating with naive entry-level optimism, and subject it to immediate, brutal consequences. This approach mirrors the evolution of early, highly stylized cartoons. The absence of realistic physics means the comedic timing and the writing have to carry the entire weight of the scene. There is a rigid rule of visual irony at play here. An ugly, crudely drawn figure experiencing sudden tragedy produces a much sharper, more repeatable comedic impact than a carefully rendered melodrama. When you combine dry, quiet audio with severely constrained visuals, you remove all the noise. The audience is forced to look directly at the harsh management seminar hidden underneath the sarcasm. We see this exact combination perfectly executed in the fable of a little bird who failed to fly south for the winter. Freezing and exhausted, the bird drops into a large, barren field to die. As the bird lies shivering, a passing cow drops a massive pile of dung directly on top of it. But instead of suffocating, the bird realizes the manure is warm. The dung is actually thawing out its frozen wings. Feeling warm and happy, the bird makes a crucial error and begins to sing loudly for joy. A nearby cat hears the noise, wanders over to investigate, digs the bird out of the pile, and promptly eats it. This maps perfectly to modern corporate reality. You survive a brutal, messy situation, perhaps a terrible project or a mass restructuring, and instead of staying quiet, you publicly announce your survival on social media, instantly drawing the attention of corporate predators. Surviving the corporate jungle rarely goes to the loudest or the most blindly optimistic. It goes to those who understand that when you find yourself in deep trouble, your best strategy is to keep your mouth shut, process the absurdity, and quietly endure.